New generation of console, new protagonist, but the same stylish action. Devil May Cry 4, released in 2008, with the jump to next gen, Capcom thought a new DMC should work as a jumping on point, but they didn't want to dumb down the combat for returning players. Their solution was to introduce a new hero where you could learn the ropes along with him. DMC4 should have been the best in the series so far, but it has some massive flaws. Is this a worthy entry into the series or another disappointment? The game starts off with Nero trying to get to his girlfriend Kyrie's performance. He gets delayed because of some demons who he has to take care of with one hand. This is to show Nero is a badass. If you're new, hopefully this makes you want to play as him. If you played the old games, you'll start thinking this guy must be related to Dante. Nero manages to make it to the performance. The Pope then gives a speech about Sparda because every game needs this info dump. Sparda managed to seal the demon world away from the human world. It is interesting to see people worshipping Sparda. We don't really get any world building in the previous games, like we only know what Dante is up to. Are people used to demons? Are they part of everyday life? Who knows? Dante then bursts through the ceiling and shoots the Pope, getting blood on his face. This is a hell of an opening. Newcomers will be thinking, who the hell is this guy? Returning players will be asking, why has Dante shot the Pope? As he turned into a villain. Nero gets into a fight with Dante where he reveals he has a demon arm and a sword that he can rev, which Dante takes the piss out of. Nero fights off Dante, but it's clear Dante isn't really trying and runs off. Nero is now tasked with hunting down Dante. Let's talk about how Nero plays. He's a lot simpler than Dante from 3, but also familiar. Nero only has one sword and gun. The sword is used for combos and dealing damage, whereas his revolver is there to keep the combo going, as it doesn't do much damage. Nero also has his demon arm. This is used to perform high damaging attacks on enemies. You'll be locked into the animation when performing. Nero is easy to get the grips with, but also hard to master. Perfect for newcomers. Nero spends most of the game chasing Dante, and honestly, not much happens along the way. You fight bosses, move through areas and hear the same line over and over. You're not a human. Yeah, we figured it out hours ago. Nero is just as fun to watch during the cutscenes. He likes to show off and is cocky like Dante. His design screams Dante and Virgil combined. Red, blue, white hair. It's obvious what they're hinting at even if the game refuses to say it. Nero then makes his way to the cathedral in the snowy mountains. Yeah, this is something you're going to have to get used to. The area's changed so drastically for how far Nero walks. We go from the Vatican to the snowy mountains to a massive forest. I was fully expecting a desert next. It's like Mario level logic. Before we get to the cathedral, we meet Gloria, who gets a sick action scene where she shows off her moves and assets. Yes, I'm hard as well. She tells Nero she is new to the Order. This is another one of the game's problems. We get no context for what is happening. Who is the Order? What is their goal? They are just doing stuff when we see them here. At some point, Nero got an upgrade to his demon hand. He can now pull himself towards blue points or pull demons towards him, which is a big part of his combat. He is very fun to play once you unlock this move. The grab is used in the platforming as well. It's fine for most of the game, but for some reason this room with the spikes on the roof always slows me down. The grab is positioned where you have to fling yourself into the spikes, which triggers more enemies. Very annoying to get past. Nero will then fight his second boss. It's in these bosses where a cool bit of design is shown. With certain attacks, or if the boss is stunned, you can use the demon arm to counter for big damage. The game is never really obvious with this, but rewards players who pay attention. Like if a boss throws something at you, time it right and you may be able to throw it right back. At this point it's revealed the Pope is still alive. He wanted Dante to show up as they wanted to capture him. Nero then shows up to one of the most annoying parts of the game, the dice room. You have to keep rolling dice to move your piece. Every spot is good besides the red where you have to dodge a laser or fight enemies. It drags. There's a trick to always get the dice to land on what you want. Even with this, it still takes too long. At least by now you should have practiced with revving Nero's sword. I found it took a bit of getting used to, but it was very useful. You can rev it to 3 different levels. Each level changes your next sword attack. It's a satisfying system to learn. Then you get the upgrade where you can max rev in one go if you time it right. So fun to pull off. Next, Nero finds a broken Yamato, Virgil's katana. Where did the Order find this? We then meet Angus. He is weird, he works for the Pope, he tries to kill Nero. He lets too much slip. It really makes you question the bad guy's plan. They sent Nero after Dante but somehow end up in front of him. They then don't try to stop him when he enters their facility. It's literally a straight line from the city. Where else do you think he would go? Angus tells Nero that the Pope has been reborn and he wants to rule the world. This should be a big moment, but I just didn't care. Angus impales Nero, which unlocks his devil trigger, which is shockingly in line for this series. His devil trigger comes from Yamato, which gets fixed at the same time, hinting at Nero's true identity. The devil trigger enhances your attack power and refills some health. If you manage to grab an enemy with the demon arm, you'll perform extra hits. It refills very quickly, so you should be able to use devil trigger a lot. I do find Nero is a lot harder to get S ranks with than Dante. You can't switch to a new weapon to keep the variety up. You'll have to take the time to learn him. Once in the forest, Dante shows up to remind us you're still after him. I'm now going to skip 3 levels, nothing happens. Nero fights some demons, Credo shows up to fight Nero. The guy that sounds like Frank West, have I not mentioned him yet? He hasn't really done much. He becomes a boss enemy, he shows the Order has been corrupted by demons. Kyrie watches Nero beats Credo. She thinks he is a demon because of his arm. I guess she didn't know about it before. Or because he just beat up her brother, which I feel like they don't mention at all until this cutscene. Agnes then kidnaps her to motivate Nero. They were going to use Dante, but now they must have figured out Nero can do the same thing. It really isn't explained well. This is where Nero becomes one note. It feels like from here onwards all he does is shout, Kyrie! This is one of the game's biggest flaws. The point of this game is to get you on board Nero being the main guy from now on. He looks and acts cool, but I don't really care about him. He doesn't have any motivation until now. He has been ordered around. The game could have done with a scene early on where you find out about his past or something. In this game all we know is that he loves Kyrie, that's it. The story feels similar to DMC1 but not in a good way. Nero runs into Dante for one last fight. Dante wants Yamato back as it was his brother's. It's a fun fight that reminds me of the fight in 3 with Virgil. It must remind Dante as well. He lets him keep the Yamato. I'm assuming he wants to see if Nero can handle it. He says he wants to keep it in the family. After Nero leaves, Gloria shows up. Turns out it was Trish doing blackface. I bet you didn't see that coming. Probably because she only has like 2 scenes before this. She has gone undercover in the Order. This is how Dante knows the Pope is evil. Her hair looks weird in this one. Nero makes his way to the Pope, who has Kyrie trapped in a statue. The statue is the Pope's ultimate weapon. His boss fight is ass. You have to keep grappling towards him, but he always moves when you try hitting him. It always takes way longer than it should. The Pope manages to trap Nero and take Yamato. Credo shows up to help but gets stabbed by the Pope. I bet you're really upset. The Pope stabs Nero with Yamato, which does something. Dante shows up to encourage Nero to get up, but Nero gets sucked into the statue. You can tell Dante could solve the problem, but he wants Nero to do it. I like it. They never underpower Dante to make Nero look better. The statue flies back to the city, Dante must go after it. This is when the best and the worst part of the game happens. We finally get to play as Dante, great. But we have to backtrack all the way back to the beginning of the game, not so great. Literally nothing else happens. You go through the same areas, fight the same bosses, but now you're Dante. This is why some people say it's half a game. He really needed his own levels. Dante plays exactly how he did in 3. He is still tons of fun. He can pull off some crazy moves. The big difference for his combat is being able to switch style at any time. A game changer. In 3 you could only swap in the shop. Being able to swap on the fly adds so much depth to the combat. You can now quickly dodge a Trickster into a sword combo with Swordmaster. Getting high ranks has never been this much fun. He only has one extra style this time around, where he will use Yamato to copy some of his brother's moves. Dante can also swap to all of his weapons now as well. He doesn't have as many as in 3. He has his standard Rebellion sword, Beowulf the gauntlets, his pistols and a shotgun. He only gains 2 new weapons for this game, which he gains from killing the bosses like before. His new mate is called Gilgamesh. It's a strange one. He throws out swords that stay in the air until you perform a specific action. They will stay in the air for ages or until you get hit. It can be fun to use but takes a bit to learn. His new gun's even more bizarre. It's a suitcase called Pandora that can turn into 666 different things, obviously not that much in game. They can fire out rockets as standard, or turn into a triple rocket launcher, a tri-blade, a minigun, or into a vehicle that hovers and shoots out lasers. It's wild. I wish I could say more about the story here. It's just Dante being his cocky, lovable self. All of his cutscenes are fun to watch, but they are not as good as 3's. We get a flashback where Lady and Triss are explaining to Dante what the Order is. Like, this would have helped if they had shown this sooner. I get they wanted the mystery at the beginning, but it leaves players too confused for too long. At one point he does a poetry battle with Angus because why not? After making his way back he gets his own unique boss fight, with the statue. It sucks. You have to jump around the area destroying the obvious weak spots. It doesn't lean into the combat strengths. Dante throws Yamato into the statue exactly where Nero is. This frees him. It's time for Nero to wrap this up, right after we do that dice game 4 times in a row. Why? This is where the classic Capcom boss rush happens. It's a tradition at this point. Nero makes it to the Pope, who has fully gone to the dark side. Nero cries Kyrie and kills the Pope. He escapes to the statue with her. Nero then destroys the statue with his demon hand. Dante and Nero have a chat. Dante tells Nero to keep the Yamato. Nero asks, will we meet again? Dante says nothing and waves with his back to the camera. For such a long time this was the last we would see of him. DMC5 took 11 years to come out. Will we meet again is something us DMC fans ask regularly. It's hard to describe to newcomers that this was the end for such a long time. Nero of course must fight off some demons as the credits roll. Kyrie accepts Nero's demon half. Nero says I'm not human anymore. Like, you never were Nero, what did you think the demon hand was? The end. Yeah, the story's not great. Following the amazing story of 3 was going to be hard, but this wasn't close. It didn't get me to care about Nero. I remember thinking I don't really care if he shows up in 5. He loves his girl, that's it. I also find it strange he didn't confirm who he's related to outright. But this does get dealt with in 5. Honestly, that's the only reason to play it story-wise. It sets up 5. On its own, it just doesn't work. It is somehow confusing and not a lot happens. The Pope dies, turns out he's alive and evil, then you kill him. After you beat the game, you unlock Bloody Palace, which is wave after wave of enemies for you to fight. It was pretty bare bones, but this is the special edition. Now we have turbo mode that makes the game 20% faster, fun to mess around with. There is legendary Dark Knight mode, which adds a ridiculous amount of enemies to each room of the story. It is incredibly satisfying taking them all out though, you feel like a god. Then the big selling point is the extra playable characters. You can play as Lady, Trish and Virgil in the story. They're all amazing characters to play. If you adore the combat, it's more what you love. The big issue for me is you have to play through the same levels again. It is quite tedious. You have to go there and back in with the new characters. Each characters get a whole 2 cutscenes each. It's not enough to motivate me to play through the game at least 3 times. Virgil's cutscenes are him walking past a woman. That's it. Ultimately I had fun with the MC4. The combat may be the best in the series and Nero is a good new character. Everything else is letting the game down. For every stylish high, there is a reused level waiting to drag you back down. Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition is one of the best action games out there, and one of the most frustrating. A game carried by incredible combat, buried under wasted potential. Time to rank it. I'm feeling number 53. The amazing combat is carrying the game. I found it more fun than unpacking boxes, so it's above that. But I can't put it above Power Wash, that was more satisfying overall, and didn't leave me disappointed. New number 53. Well, at least the franchise can't get any worse, right?